To add myself. Hi. Hey, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for saying good morning. Nice to see you. Thanks for telling me where you guys are at. Always good to know where people are coming from. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's doing good this morning. I'm trying out a new mic for this process. If you guys have thoughts about that, whether it's working, not working, better, doesn't matter. As long as you can hear me, I guess that's what we're aiming for here. It seems to have cat hair on it. All right, well, listen, while people are coming in here, I thought I would go through. I had asked people to sort of send in some oh, thanks. Good. Thanks for the feedback on the mic there. And by the way, the comments are just usually just slightly delayed. So if it seems like you put them in there, it takes me a while uh to get to them. That's what that's about. Okay. Oh good. I'm so glad. All right, let's I'm just going to go through some of the questions that people had asked in the link. I thought I'd just start by, hey, Yulia's here. Morning, Yulia. Um, look at everybody who's here. This is great. Good morning, everyone. So I thought I'd just kind of start with some of those questions. Well, I'm going to try to answer your questions too. Um, Trinidad and Tobago, come on. Oh, Darwin was in here like 3 seconds ago. I booted him out because he is not conducive to getting much done here. Um, okay, I gotta say, who's in Trinidad and Tobago? How do we come there now? I don't know about you guys. We walk up to more snow today. This is the most like traditional, like old-fashioned winter that I can remember in the longest time. Like, this is how winters used to be, and we haven't had a winter like this yet. It's cold, it's snowy. We've got more snow in the forecast. Yeah, this will be saved on YouTube, so you can catch the whole thing on YouTube afterwards. Um, so, um, it's nuts. In fact, Mr. Much More Patient is out there removing the snow that fell last night right now. Morning, everyone. Okay, I'm going to start with a few questions and then we'll keep kind of trying to come back to the comments as well. So one of the questions that was sent early in the community tab on YouTube was from N Topaz 1517. Deer are eating my daylilies. Rabbits and deer are eating the phlox. I need a 3 to 4 foot shrub that is beautiful and detested by animals. Please help. Oh, there you go. Perfect time. Perfect timing. You just popped up in the comments there. Okay, so first of all, the two plants that you've named here are also to me two of the plants that are most susceptible to deer damage, certainly rabbit damage, I guess, as well. I love phlox, but I really have to be careful about where I plant them because even when I spray them, when I spray everything around them with deer repellent, the deer will still find them. They are clearly very, very tasty to deer, and it's super frustrating. I mean, I did pretty good with the deer repellent this year, and even if nothing else was touched, they would get the flocks. I sort of famously ripped out my daylilies several years ago for a lot of reasons, but in part because they were constantly being eaten. So, all right. So I'm presuming that we're talking about replacing these plants rather than trying to protect them with a shrub, which is not a bad idea. Actually, I think you can be a little bit successful in discouraging um, animal browsing if you plant deer resistant and animal resistant things around them. But that's not full safe and I think fail safe. And I think foolproof fail safe. Geez Louise. I think that with the two plants that you named, daylilies and phlox, they're gonna find those things anyway. So there's a whole bunch of them. So I mean, okay, if you're looking for something that is sort of kind of ordinary, I mean, boxwood to me are the most animal proof plant I know of. They're also perhaps good for structure and not that good for being interesting. So there's a lot of other things you can look at. Uh, Dervilla, right? Dervilla, which is the sort of native honeysuckle, bush honeysuckle, is pretty resistant. I had a little bit of deer browse on it, pretty resistant to deer. Clethra, pretty resistant. Calycanthus, summer sweet. I just planted it this year, but so far I've seen nothing on it whatsoever in terms of. Uh, Brad from Garden Evolution is here bugging me that I'm dragging my feet on figuring out what plants I want to grow next year. Um, uh, Summer sweet, that has been so far amazing. Viburnum, I mean, I find viburnum to be very resistant. I think it depends a little bit on it, but they don't touch my viburnums. Um, so those are a few to start with. I think when you get into shrubs, you're going to find a lot of options that are out there. I would stay away probably from hydrangeas, deer. It does to me depend on the hydrangea. Deer generally seem to be okay with eating those. So if you have a big problem with that, I would stay away from those. But there's a lot of options out there. Those are just kind of a few that I came up with there. Good morning, everyone. Um, well, I'll just answer one of the questions right now. Here, I think I can put the here. This is nice. When you guys make comments, sometimes I can put the comment up on the screen. Yeah, the Oregon grape is gone. Fully dead. Fully dead. It never really thrived. I kind of knew it wasn't going to do well. I was not good about acidifying the soil. It does want acidic soil. The only thing I can say is that I know that Laura at Garden Answer, who has always said she has alkaline soil, and I think if I know her number, I think it's more alkaline than mine is actually. But Oregon grapes are native to that area, so I think there's other things going on there that the Oregon grape likes there that didn't like it in my yard. So I think this year it hung in there. I think this year it was just toast. So but it lasted, what was that, 5 years, 4 years? Here, I'll just answer this question right now because when I do lives, I get questions about the pink color. That pink color is called Summer Nights by Benjamin Moore. It is a good color. It has a bit of green in it. It doesn't, and I don't know that that's necessarily showing up on camera. It has just a touch of green in it, more so than some other navies. Um, See, Brad is saying he's had success with her. And maybe I put it in the wrong spot. You grow. Also, it was a really pathetic looking plant from the get go because it's not a commonly grown plant around here. So it was quite pathetic to begin with. Okay, I'm going to go to another question that someone had put in ahead of time. Tell me more about Geranium macrorrhizum. I have a line of ugly Norway maples coming up my driveway, about 50 to 60 feet by 8 feet of ungrowable lands in front of them. Will the Geranium macrorrhizum grow there? How fast does it spread? Does it flower for how long? Can you suggest somewhere to buy plugs? Zone 7, Southeast Massachusetts. You guys might know that Geranium macrorrhizum is on my list of like my go-to plants. Like it is just such a no-brainer plant for me. I plant it anywhere where I need to just have something. I mean, sometimes it stays there and it's the perfect plant to live there forever. Sometimes I just move it around until I find the other thing I want to plant there. It's a great ground cover. It still is green. Here it'll be like a semi evergreen. It still looks really good. It does an amazing job of creating a nice mat that does not allow weeds to grow through. And there's a lot of other varieties out there that you can get too. So, um, Norway maples are a unique challenge. I'm dealing with one actually on the other side of the driveway. That's the neighbors. Um, because they do suck up, those root systems are so extensive and they suck up so much water. I do think that if any plant could make it in that situation, Geranium macrorrhizum is a really good one to try. I mean, I would not go whole hog on it until you sort of try it in one area. I wouldn't try to plant that entire 50-foot area until you give it a little bit of a shot to make sure it's going to work. But I have put Geranium macrorrhizum basically everywhere, including there's a spruce. I point because it's outside the window that I'm facing. And it has grown pretty well there. I think what you need to do is make sure that you're watering it well to get it established. And once you get it established, you're good. And the best thing about geranium macrorhizum is that it doesn't necessarily spread super wide quickly, but it does is bulk up, and it is the easiest plant in the world to divide and replant. You can practically like you just it basically comes, it grows right at the surface. So you just basically pull up a clump, it just easily kind of breaks apart. And I swear you can almost just like throw it at the soil. You barely even need to plant it and it roots. In terms of ground covers, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one that performs that well and also is not so aggressive that it becomes a problem. It will never become a problem for you. It's so easy to take out. It's just really a perfect plant. Does it flower? Yes, but only for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks. It doesn't flower for a long time. You guys, great suggestions from Yulia come in here. Solomon seal, Dicentra hellebore. She says did well under a Norway maple, so keep those in mind too. I love all those plants. I would say this about hellebore: it takes a little bit to get established, and it's not a cheap plant to get going, but it is beautiful, and I would take. Although I used to not be into it, I think I did. I was turned off by the fact that hellebores sometimes cost 25, $30. So that was always, kind of an issue for me. So, um, yes, that is the fat here, where is it? Yes, that's the fat setter. Don't look at the, really sad begonia next to it, which I'm probably just gonna cut off and let it go dormant. That is the fat setter. It comes in every year, and, um, it, does just fine there in a plant. It's got quite this room is really a mess. This is my husband's office, so don't look at all the big mess, but it's got quite long bare stems. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see it, that you can kind of see there. But it's fine, and it grows well. So it's what is this, the third year in the house for that plant? That and it's pretty easy because I kill houseplants like crazy. Another Brad suggesting Christmas ferns for dry shade, aka the Norway maple situation as well. Yeah, again, um, great suggestion there. I just always think that like those, I think if you're looking for kind of quick impact, I think that geranium macrorhizum. I mean, I think you should think about a lot of these things. I wouldn't necessarily plant a monoculture there. Geranium macrorhizum will take care of that area while you are working on getting other things established, and then you just move it around. Um, Let me just try to here. Let's go here. Um, We just built 2 raised flower beds. We're building 2 file cabinet planters with trellises, narrowing down what to plant. So many gorgeous options. Oh yeah, that'll be beautiful. Your world is the oyster there. You're gonna have so much. You have so many options there. Um, I don't know if you're thinking vegetables or if you're gonna do more flowers in those file cabinet planters. Think about annual vines. Biggest bang for the buck. You can grow most of them from seed, Thunbergia. Um, well, obviously, you guys know that I like purple bellvine, although it's not easy to get going necessarily, and it doesn't really want to be in full sun. Um, what's the Yulia's yelling at me right now because I ask her about this plant all the time. I'm sure. Oh gosh, there's so many of them. Purple hyacinth bean. Ah, amazing. Love purple hyacinth bean. All good. Here we go. Let's go to this. Okay. Full sun. Okay. Here again, what I would do is, while you're trying to get some shrubs established there, by the way, I would think, I would not do one thing. I would do the mixed hedge concept there. I would do viburnums. We've got these cranberry viburnums, Wentworth, on the other side of the driveway that we picked up for a song. They're one of the first things we planted here to block the neighbor's shed. Those things are amazing, and even though they're deciduous, they have a um, kind of a messy branching structure, so they actually still provide screening in winter, even though they're deciduous. That was inexpensive and grows quickly, gets nice and wide, does a great job of screening. While you're establishing that, I would again think about some annual vines. All those things I just mentioned, throw those in and let those go. Hops would be great to cover that, although that's not an annual, that's a perennial. Um, all of those. Yes, thank you. See, Yulia came up with it. Acerina, if that's how we say that. Some people call it snapdragon vine. It's not related to snapdragons at all. Thank you, Yulia. Um, so I would that's what I would recommend. So get like a mix of evergreens and deciduous plants to plant by that chain link fence. While those are getting established, and you might even want to do some tall grasses along there. Um, technically an easement, right? So you don't want to spend a lot of money there. So yeah, I would go for some of these things that grow quickly. Um, and if it's not the end of the world, if um well, I don't know, is your problem with this that you can't have anything too big, or is the problem with this that because it's an easement, you don't want to spend like a lot of money because at some point they might come through there and say you can't have those here. Either way, while you're getting stuff established, go for the annual vines because it's the ticket right there. Here we go. Okay. Brad's shocked that I didn't say clematis. Yeah, of course clematis. I mean, obviously. I just assume we all knew that, right? Oh, here we go. I haven't talked about it much, have I? No, Michelle, I have not talked about. I don't know. It never did much. It was alive. It didn't grow much. I put it in the garage for winter. We'll see if it overwinters and something happens with it. It's alive, just didn't do much. I think Fats Hetera, which is way better. It's Fats Shadera, but like calling it Fats Hetera because I think that's funny. No, it's Fats Shadera is what I like to call it. Fats Hetera is what it really is pronounced. Doesn't matter how you say it. You know what plant it is. I think it's a zone 7 plant. Double check that. This one is Año Star from the Southern Living Plants collection. You can find it on their website and get all the information. Um, and it's really it really wants to grow as a vine and grow up, but it does root pretty easily. So I would think if you had a stem that fell over, it would spread. I don't think you're going to get spreading. I mean, I've not grown it in the ground, so I can't say that for a fact. But it is going to spread. I don't think it's going to spread like wide. That's my inclination on that. Also, Jim Putnam grows it in the ground, so you can always check out his channel. I'm sure if you Google it, he'll probably have a special video on it. Actually, um, okay. Let's see what's this. Oh, wait, hang on. This is the one I wanted to go to. Um, oh gosh, you've got a flowerful hydrangea coming on Friday. You know, I tell me again, where were you in Nashville? Did you tell me you were in Nashville? Let me know where you're at. Um, I would not spend plan on that being a house plant for the winter. I don't think it's going to be happy in that scenario. I would try to heal it in if you could, or keep it in like a unheated garage situation with some protect the roots a little bit. I don't think it's going to love living as a house plant for any amount of time. What else we got here? How's everybody doing? You guys good? What are you guys thinking about? Oh, I have had terrible luck with IT. ITs want I think the thing with ITs is that they want a lot of water. And that's why I pulled my fizzy mizzies out this year actually. I had 2, including one from Michelle, that actually made it that I replanted somewhere else, but I pulled them out of where they were because the rest of them were not performing well. You really want to well, I think the answer is technically when your target plant out date is. Um, but everything that you find is going to be based. I mean, but your target plant out date is generally weeks from last frost, right? So when you're looking at like a seed packet, they're going to tell you. they always time it in terms of start these X amount of weeks before frost. So the two things kind of go hand in hand. It's not that much different. Sometimes with, I will adjust things like sweet peas. So sweet peas definitely can go out before your last frost, but you have to kind of know your area because they also don't want to get frozen. So you have to know like where you're at and if you have a plan um, for what's going to happen if it does get too cold once you've got them out. Oh, Delaware, Backyard Railroad Delaware. Oh boy. I If your ground is frozen already, I gosh, what a terrible time for someone to ship you a plant. That's a bummer. If your ground is frozen already, then I would try to keep it somewhere unheated or even build. I mean, I just don't think it's going to be happy living as a house plant. I think that's a flowerful hydrangea is not going to want that. It's probably going to come dormant, and I would try to keep it dormant. You could even build a little if there's like a protected spot. If you can't get in the ground, you could even build like a little protected spot, stick some hay bales around it, like next to a shed or something. That might help, I think. Nobody eats nine bark. Yes, true. Very true. I just want to go back here. Just make sure I haven't missed any good questions. Not good. They're all good questions. You know what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, it's really hot in here with the door closed. Um, Rabbits love soft touch Mahonia. My soft touch is in the ground. It will not overwinter, but I always try these things, especially this year because next weekend, our high is going to be 12. That's crazy. Oh, ground is not frozen. Great. Ground's not frozen. Get it in. I would put a big, hang on, let me show so people know what I'm talking about. I would put a big bunch of leaves, pile leaves on top of it, mulch, whatever you got to protect that root zone once you get it in the ground. And I would water it too once you get it in there. You could, even if it's not where you want to plant it, you can also leave it in the pot and stick it in the ground that way and then just pop the whole pot out because it's not going to put on any root growth at this point. Doesn't matter if you leave it in the pot or not, but get that thing in the ground so that you've got uh, some protection there. Oh gosh, look at this. I think so far you're winning the award for coming from the farthest. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. From Warsaw. Nice. What's the weather like in Poland? Isn't that weird? I think of Poland as being super cold. But I know it's all different because there's ocean effects and, all the whatever. You guys know how weather works. I don't need to tell you that. All right, let's talk dahlias here. Dahlias are high maintenance plants. They're not high maintenance plants, I don't think. Once you get them in the ground, no, they're high maintenance plants. What am I saying? Um, yep, they will not like a drought. They will definitely not perform well for that. I think that's why you just gotta decide if the juice is worth the squeeze on that one. A lot of people go to zinnias because you can kind of get that dahlia look with some of those cool zinnias. And I don't blame people for not wanting to do it because you're right. You gotta, they're not cheap. Although, I do find they grow great from seed. You saying you have poor germination problems. I would say this, poor if you're talking like germination from seed, um, I do think when you're saving seed, you gotta remember that a lot of dahlia seeds are not viable. So I would oversow dahlia seeds for sure if you're keeping your own. And there's a way to check if you go to like, I think it's like, um, well, several of the big dahlia growers have little tutorials on how to tell if a dahlia seed is viable or not. And there's basically like a little bump in it. You have to look to see if it's a viable one or just plant a lot and some will be viable and some won't. If you're talking about like in terms of getting them going from tubers, they should want to go. That should not be a big issue. That they should want to go as long as you're planting them at the right time. Um, oh, river birches. River birches want I think I once heard somebody say that you cannot overwater a river birch. They really want a lot of moisture. So, here's what I would do if you got to move this. I would start by doing the root pruning on it. So, basically you take a shovel and this is some time before you're going to dig it out, and you go out as far as you're going to be able to dig up in that root ball, and you're going to slice a spade down and you're going to cut those roots. So basically what that does is that tells the tree to sort of start creating like new feeder roots where you've cut them. Um and so the idea is this will be less shock when you do move it. Then of course you wait a little bit, and honestly, like, you could even do like a thing. I don't know when you need to move this. You could do that in spring. Keep that, that cut edge there. And then in fall you could move it. Would be actually a really good time to do that. Um And of course, the rest of it, take as big of a root ball as you possibly can, and then you just gotta water that thing like crazy when you move it. That'll be the best thing you can do for it, is water that thing like absolute like crazy. Saskatchewan, zone 3A. What is the temperature in Saskatchewan today in zone 3A? Uh no, it does. No to both of those. That is not that is Crown Imperial Fritillary. Those are the beautiful orange or yellow ones that have like the big crown. Um, they they do not multiply. They are not good repeaters. If I get one to come back for 3 years in a row, I consider that pretty good, and nothing touches it because it does when you step on it or you get super near it. There is a little bit of a skunk odor to it. I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. It's not enough to um, bother me at all. But nothing touches that thing. Okay. So I was on I kind of think I got off of it. A Facebook, like a Dahlia Growers Facebook group. And this fall, you could have called it the Is It Gall Facebook group, because everybody was like, Is this gall? Is this gall? And you got like new growers in there who were so freaked out at every little thing. They're like, "Oh my god, I think it's gall." It's like, "No, that's just regular. Those are just lenticles, which are like little nubbins on it." Um, yeah, there's gall all over, you guys. Dahlias everywhere are coming up with gall. I will tell you what I've it depends too. Was it crown gall or leafy gall? I'd rather see if I had to see one, I'd rather see leafy gall than crown gall personally. So here's how I deal with it. I gonna be honest here. I don't change anything about where I'm growing them. I think I threw out 5 dahlias this year for leafy gall in all cases. I'm not even sure where they came out. They will go back in. I've not noticed a huge. In fact, 2 no, was it 2? Maybe it was only 2. And then there were 5 others. There was 2 that had leafy gall out of 80. And then I think there were 3 others that just didn't look right to me. So I'm like, not gonna take a chance on that. So to answer your question, I don't actually change anything about what I've done. I'm not sure that that's the best advice, but also I can't allow myself to get too worked up about it. Um, giant African snails. Um, I need to know how big a giant African snail is and how gross it is. So, Sean, please share. Um, I think tiger eye sumac is fabulous. I think they're beautiful. I think you just want to understand that even tiger eyes, which is bred to be less rhizomatous than other sumacs, like we see growing on the side of the roadside, will spread a bit. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's beautiful. I think if you have the right spot for it, you should plant it because I think it's a great plant. Um, Yeah, I would say the same. Mine are slow to naturalize. I guess I haven't been growing snowdrops long enough. Yeah, they do multiply. They bulk up is what they do. And then I take the clumps, and snowdrops are really best grown or divided in the green. So after the flowers are gone, you dig up a clump, and then you pull it apart, and you plant it when you still see the foliage. That's the best way to spread your snowdrops. So I think with snowdrops, it's more of a thing where they do sort of naturalize a little bit, but I think it helps if you help them along the way. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Saskatchewan, -22. Holy smokes. Uh, Winnipeg, 19 degrees below 0 Celsius. Holy cow. And here's the information on the giant African snails. A foot long. Oh my god, so gross. No, we none of the rest of us get to complain about snails anymore at all. Oh, crown gall. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so some people, what I see on some of the dahlia groups, people talking about is digging out that soil. You could try that if it's in a small area. You can also solarize the soil. So that's where something where you would put down like black plastic and let it cook, which means probably not having anything there for a good amount of time this summer. Those are two things you could do because crown gall is can spread to other types of plants as well. Or you could just see what happens. Take your chances. All right, let's talk weeping willows. Yeah, the only thing about well, I don't know where you are, Lynn. So in some places they're quite prone to borers, and so some people do like a systemic with them, which is not particularly something I'd. If I had to do that with a plant, I probably wouldn't plant it. That's not a problem for us. They do get unstable with time. That said, I mean, my parents had gorgeous weeping willows for, 30, 40 years. The problem is that when they do fall, they tend to fall rather dramatically. Um, I think I think you don't have a water problem if you love that plant. Actually, they can be real problem solver plants. If you have a wet spot in your yard, a willow will take care of it. Um, I mean, if you're planting this in a place where it's not gonna eventually probably fall on your house, because I think what happens is what I see with willows is that sometimes they just fall without any warning. Like all of a sudden, the whole thing is just uprooted and they fall without any warning. But they're beautiful trees. I think they're really cool. Oh my gosh. Dream scenario right here. Yeah, I thought about chickens. Kind of like around the pandemic when everybody was adding chickens. I really was into really wanted chickens. Mr. Much More Patient was adamantly against it. And while I have pretty much free reign to do almost anything I want in this yard, when it comes to bringing in new life in terms of, well, I also bring pets home sometimes, but chickens is a different thing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm really glad I didn't do it. I'm so glad I didn't do it. Actually, if I was going to get any kind of fowl, it would be guinea hens. Um, the neighbors, next door neighbors, at one point asked us how we felt about it because they wanted to make sure that the neighbors were okay with it because they're quite screechy, loud things. And so that was like, I think he got enough people saying we don't really want to listen to your peacocks or your peahens, but I they're amazing tick control. I would love. I don't know if they destroy your garden or not, but they are amazing tick control. I would love to have a hand and pea hens are like they look like cartoons to me. They're the most comical looking bird. So um I would definitely that would be the fowl I would get if I was gonna get some fowl, but I'm not gonna get those either. We also have a lot of foxes around here and stuff. So you really have to build, which is great. I love the foxes. You really have to build a Fort Knox kind of pen for things, and I don't know if oh, I guess someone told me that peafowl I'm gonna get to this question in a second, Mary. I also think that peafowl, someone told me that they're, like, not the smartest birds, so sometimes they go up to roost. They'll take care of themselves because 'cause they'll be up to roost, but sometimes they come down a little too early, and so I think we would definitely have some wildlife issues, but no, I'm glad I didn't get chickens. Okay, Mary, perfectly normal, perfectly normal. This is what happens with milkweed, you should not worry about it at all. All milkweed gets covered in aphids. It's just and if you let it just let it be, don't worry about it. Yeah, they're gonna look a little icky, don't worry about it. This is totally normal for milkweed, and good bugs will come in as long as you aren't like spraying something that's making all the bugs in the yard go away. Good bugs will come in and eat those guys up right away. If they really bother you, you could wash it off. I just leave it. I No problem. They absolutely this is just what happens with milkweed, and it's totally okay. Yeah. Yep. That's the ticket is, just get used to having your milkweed plants not look super great for a little bit because the aphids are doing their thing, and, you'll be good to go. I certainly hope that I don't have an issue with this. We don't generally Oh, here's the big news here. I'll tell you guys about this. Um, there's roaming this is, like, the biggest news in the whole county right now, well, other than the data center. Um there are 2 sheep on the lamb, as it were. They have been running around the county for almost 2 months now. No one has claimed them. Multiple people have been trying to catch them because they like, well, it's not good for sheep to, they're not gonna be able to fend for themselves. Um, and it is big news. There are maps out there, where were the sheep last seen? I know where the sheep are right now. And I'm not gonna say it publicly, but I I know where they are that where they were yesterday anyway. This is this is what everyone's talking about. Anyway, we don't have bears, but apparently we have roaming sheep, and they're not far from me. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep I think they're pretty happy where they're at right now. If they keep moving north, they'll probably show up in our yard. Um Dorothy would not care. Darwin would lose his freaking melon. He is super attuned to anything in the yard, which is great. He's barking at the deer. It is not great because he's barking at the deer at all hours, and it's not good. The neighbors are not gonna be happy with us. Um, yes, I have done it. It all depends on the year. I don't know that this is a great year for that, to be honest. But yes, I have had dahlias come back. I think dahlias are as long as they have good drainage, I think dahlias are a little bit tougher than we probably think they are. I Generally, if they're in a protected spot, that's better. But um, um, I think it's worth if you're gonna just throw them away. I mean, I would not dig up a dahlia in order to throw it away. Might as well leave them there, right? Um, yeah, yeah. Leaf miners kind of stink. Um, oh, I can't pick. I can't pick. They're 2 totally separate things, and I'll always do both of them. I mean, I've been sailing since I before I could walk. I've been sailing a lot longer than I've been gardening. They are 2 totally different things. Sailing is kind of a team thing, gardening I kind of think of as sort of a solitude kinda thing. I got into Newfoundland dogs because in high school, uh so we had a collie when we were very young. And then when that collie passed away, we didn't have another dog, and I desperately wanted I just like everybody, I wanted a dog. When I was a junior in high school, my former soccer coach's family, their golden retriever had puppies. And I think I just went over there and looked at them, and I was like, "Yeah, I really want one of these dogs." And I somehow talked my parents into letting me bring home a dog as a junior in high school. By the way, I'm the youngest. So they were like 2 years away from empty nester, and I talked him into letting me bring home a dog. I can't fathom. They must have just gotten so sick of me begging for so many years. Well, this was a golden retriever who had been impregnated by a neighbor dog n that they thought was a very large border collie. But our dog, Simon, ended up being a very big 110-pound furry beast, with webbed toes. And a lot of people were like, that's webbed toes is, I mean, other breeds can have it too, but and that's kind of a Newfoundland thing. And so I started looking into what a Newfoundland dog was and the characteristics of a Newfoundland dog. And a lot of them were present in Simon. So I came up with the theory that the large border collie that had been his father was perhaps like a poorly bred Landseer Newfoundland, because Landseer Newfoundlands are white and black, kind of like border collies are. Anyway, Simon was a beloved dog and he was great in many ways. So decided, in addition to that, once I started looking at Newfoundlands, that they sounded like cool dogs. So when we got our first dog, which was Hudson, in as a couple, in 2004, we got a Newfoundland, and so now we've had 5 of them. Mr. Much More Patient does not want any more Newfoundlands. He is sick of lifting up 150-pound dogs. So maybe there's a small dog will be the next. Let's hope there's no new dogs for a while. Let's hope everyone stays healthy and everybody, you know, I just want everybody to be living for a long time, and not interested in more than 2 dogs. Yeah, and honestly, the small dog might be a golden, if we ever got one. Yes, absolutely. You bet. Go for it. Um, Here we go. Oh, you're not screwed at all. In fact, the video I filmed yesterday, you'll see exactly what I do. Boil some water, pour it in there. I've tried using just hot water out of the tap. It doesn't seem to be hot enough. So I actually boil water and just pour it right in there. You don't need a lot of it. It does a pretty good job of getting in there. So you could still do it. You just have to boil some water and pour it in there. Um, I have a complicated relationship with roses, you guys, and my complication is that I don't grow them super well. I do come back to them all the time. I do love them. Um, right now, I'm growing the Above and Beyond climbing rose, and it only blooms once, but it's beautiful and it doesn't need cane protection, and it does a great job. And I'm really happy with that one. I don't find them particular. I think they also just want like a lot of fertilizer, and I'm just not someone who's on top of that stuff. So I think if you're attentive to them and you love them and you're willing to put in a little bit of work on them, I mean, I know people who grow amazing roses. Somebody from our master gardener class was like a master rosarian, and his yard was freaking gorgeous. And obviously, um, um, oh my god, the names. What is wrong with me? I should have some more coffee. Um, okay, I went to his house, toured his house. Breeder of the knockout rose. What the hell is his name right now? I feel terrible. Um, he's right here. He's in our zone. His whole yard has, what did he tell me? 2,500 roses in it or something. It's gorgeous. So it's not our zone. That's the problem. There's lots of roses for our zone. That's the problem, or that are available. It's me or other issues. I tend to think that my sandy soil is not helping that. Yep, and the Canadian roses are hardy as heck. So you just got to look for those ones that are bred for this area. And you can throw in I mean, I see people who are growing David Austins. I mean, do they love to be here? No, but a lot of people are growing them successfully. So yes, Will Radler. Thank you. Uh yeah. Sorry guys. Um let's see. Yeah. Yes, well, this is the other thing with pets, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's you gotta plan to leave, you can't just run off on a trip. Oh, um, so I'm assuming you've planted this already. Um, you know, I don't know where Jill, where can you tell me what zone you're in or a little bit about where you are? Um, Here, we plant these as basically you can plant them in full sun to slightly protected. I do think protected a little bit from winter helps a little bit. I'm not saying like adding protection. I'm saying put them in like not in the middle of out to get the brunt of everything. I think seems to help. I have pretty good luck with them though. So, um I don't find them to be difficult. It takes a little while for them to bloom well. It takes a few years for them to get established enough to bloom well, so just have a little patience, but I think you'll love that, and I think that's a nice tree to do as a memorial tree. All of them, I love them all. Okay, pagoda dogwood, Cornus alternifolia, certainly one of them. Love that tree so much. Um, Hang on. I have to just text, Mr. Much More Patient needs his shoes, and they're in here. Yes. Can I sneak in to get my shoes? He's gonna come in that door right there. Um, he's gonna love that I told you to look for him. Other multi-stem trees. Well, I just planted this year. I planted the Seven Suns tree, which I guess is a shrub-ish tree-ish. Say hi. um, Shrub-ish, tree-ish kind of thing. That is amazing, which is why I was so happy to be able to plant one this year. Um, uh Cornus moss, Cornelian cherry dogwood, primo, primo multi-stem tree. Crab apples, I love a multi-stem crab apple. There's so many good ones out there. I love a multi-stem tree, although I don't think you can have a yard full of multi-stem trees. I think that you have to pick a few good ones because otherwise you lose the impact of a multi-stem tree. I don't know anything about that rose. I bet it's white. That's my guess, or like a really light pink. Um, Yeah, I grow an orchid every once in a while, a phalaenopsis that I grow and then it dies. It's a house. We got to grow them as houseplants here. So houseplants don't live long in this house. Um, this is a good question, and I know there's an answer to it. Um, like sort of think of this as like what plant would I take if I could only, if I was moving. Um, there are some of the beautiful trees here, I would be sad to lose. Like, for instance, like that Cornus moss by the end of the driveway. Freaking love that thing. Uh, I'd probably leave it here though, because of course it wouldn't. It's so mature. I don't know that it would transplant well. It'd be real sad to try to take a plant with you and then kill it. Um, I don't know. Let me ponder on that a little bit because I know there's a good answer to that. Um, Part shade. Well, you could do down in Kentucky, Zone 7. I bet you could get away with a flowerful there. Dream Cloud is a new one coming out by First Editions. That would probably work there. Um, in I think in Zone 7, you might be able to get away. Maybe you might be able to get away with like a tough stuff type, like a hydrangea serrata. I'm not sure. I mean, they might want more sun than part shade. And then of course I would look at some macrophyllus. Some of the macrophyllus, especially down there, would probably be um okay. Check into that dream cloud. I think dream cloud could be an interesting one for that. Ah, yes. Thank you, Angela. I think you asked this question, or was this somebody else who asked this question? Um, Durvillas, you can prune as hard or as light as you want. So I think when we're talking about plants that tend to split open, sometimes the place that I think works is like like 12 inches or so. prune it down to that because I think what you get is what you're trying to do is get like a good framework to kind of hold things up. Um, and then that way, it's kind of stronger stems and kinds of thickens up those stems at the bottom. So I think that's something you could try. I would play around with it a little bit and see what works best. Um, One of the things that came out of the Mount Cuba hydrangea study was a thing on pruning. And it's worth looking that up because I'll probably misquote what it said. But one of the things they found um, was that you can kind of, with your hydrangea arborescens, you can kind of burn them out by pruning them incorrectly. And if I'm not mistaken, they found that it was actually better to, um, gosh, let's all look up the study because I don't want to mess this up and give you guys bad information on this. In fact, I will put a link when we put this up on YouTube. I'll put a link to that study below so you guys can study. It was an interesting thing, and it kind of goes against the general advice. I have not, and but limbing stuff up is not hard. You know, I would pick um, a few thicker stems. You know, pick your best ones and prune out a bunch of the other ones, and then you just gotta take off the spindly little stuff. It's I don't think you're gonna find it to be hard to do. I don't know the answer to this question. Anybody else? I would say yes, because they do have some cornuscusa in them. It's a mix, so I would say yes. But those of you who live in places where the sun is hotter than me, let me know if you can. What you think? Um, oh, okay. Hello. This is bye bye. Bye bye, person. That was gross. Okay. You can prune your red twig dogwood all the way down to the ground. I would not do that. Um, so basically, the ways to prune red twig dogwood is you can do this. You can either prune it all the way down to the ground, like every other year or every third year. You can prune it. You can do like a third. So you could like, take like the outside third one year, and then I am not speaking this well. Hopefully, you can understand. Take a third of the stems every year and prune it down. You could also prune it. I mean, that would be the way I would do it. I don't know that this one is one I'd prune. You can always prune it to a bud if you want, but they do get pretty big. So I would say you're probably better off doing like the full Monty prune on that every other year, probably. Um, Great. It was great. Now I did not get any winter protection on top of it this year. Last year I just threw a bunch of leaves on it. I think I still got time. I'll do that. No, it was great. I love it. It's great. I wouldn't say it flowers. It flowered a lot for me. It was quite a shady spot, shadier than it should have been once I got the plants around it growing. It got a little choked out by the plants, but it looked beautiful. Love it. Would very impressed with the hardiness on that. I thought it did really well. Um Double Delight rose bushes still blooming. Oh, amazing. All right, so everybody look for that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Um yeah, I have tried the wool thing. I bought some of those pellets and put it around hostas and stuff. I don't think I did it right. It didn't see I don't know if you have to put like a ton down. It's quite expensive to buy those pellets. And it was one of these. I don't know which one of those. It was one of those local companies. And I don't know if you have to put like a huge I don't know. I don't maybe I didn't do it right. I didn't find that it made a huge difference in terms of slug damage. Um Oh my gosh, look at this. We're like almost to the end. So the wool here. Yeah, wool pellets are supposed to reduce slug damage, but they're also kind of supposed to break down into like a fertilizer. Seems to be something that they've been talking a lot about. I see this on a lot of British gardening shows too. A lot of people are using wool from, like, farmers and stuff, in their garden, but I think it's the lanolin. Is it the lanolin in it that keeps the slugs away? So I would say that it didn't do much for me, but also I'm not sure I was using it properly. Okay. You know, a viburnum getting aphids and thrips, um, I don't know. Something else must be wrong there. That should not be happening. I would look to see if there's something else going on with this plant because this seems very odd to me. And it just seems like you should not have to treat that. I would look to see if there's something else happening with that. Um, yes, DE is great for a lot of things actually. Um, do wear a mask when you spread it. Eggshells, do you find that that works? That's interesting. Um, oh yeah. All right. Um, s- oh, this must be an answer to the viburnum question thing. Yes, works well. I'm not sure what that's about. Is that the wool, maybe? All right. What else? Okay, let's see. Gonna try to give you see if there's any other tidbits that I can give you guys. I will tell you that um as usual, I'm super far behind on anything Christmas related. I need to do a lot of shopping. I have not put up a tree yet. We just do a small tree now. I used to do a huge, like 10 to 12 footer in the living room, and I don't do that anymore for two reasons. One is now the ficus takes up that spot. I think I'm gonna make some orange slices, dehydrated orange slices. That's Darwin barking outside the door. Some dehydrated orange slices and hang those maybe on the ficus. And then we have a small artificial tree, and I don't love artificial trees. If I could find a small real tree, I would do that. But I put it up on a tabletop because the Newfoundlands they just wipe out the whole bottom of a tree. So I have to raise it up to be above tail height. And I will do that. And I think outside, I gotta just call it done because, it's the weather is not conducive to doing anything out there, which means I won't be doing any garland on the garage this year. I think I'm just gonna be happy with the containers I've done. I might add some more lights to one of them and call it good. Oh, you are gonna see a container video because I got something cool for one of the containers, which is gonna end up in the garden. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. Oh, um, I'm just gonna answer this question quickly. Um So what happens is, just one all of a sudden, like out of the blue, one whole branch will just get all wilty and die, and you go, "Oh no, it needs water," and then you throw a bunch of water on it, and then that doesn't fix it. Don't I will say this, it started happening again. This I love that lemony lace elderberry more than any plant I've ever had. That is the one I have the problems with, verticillium wilts on more than anything. I think it must be very prone to it. I have one and I lost half of it this year, but the rest of it hung in there. So just keep cutting off the bad parts. You never know. You might be able to save the whole thing unless it gets so misshapen that it's not worth it. Um yeah. See, I do think that plant is really prone to it. I have lost red buds to verticillium wilt. That's why I don't grow those anymore here. Um so yeah, is this for Michelle? Is that about the verticillium wilt? Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily give up on that, uh, because it might pop back unless you just can't deal with it, in which case give up on it. I will talk quickly about maintaining the climbing hydrangea. I do nothing. I maintain it in no way. Patience is key with climbing hydrangeas. So plant it, water it, walk away. for 5 years. Come back, see what it looks like. Sometimes you have to kinda point the stems at whatever you want it to climb up and tie them onto that until it develops the little root like aerial rootlets that will hold it up. So patience, and then beyond that, I do nothing. I just noticed the one on the garage is starting to come out quite a ways from the side of the garage, a good 3 feet probably. I don't think it's a problem now, but I could prune that back a little bit if I needed to. Why? You gotta be kidding me. Um, I don't understand. I keep banning the same person. Um, so I could prune that if I needed to. I have never pruned them in any way. I just sort of point them in the direction I want them to go. Actually, no, I lie. I have pruned it a little bit around the door. The one that's on the garage, I have pruned a little bit there, which you can. You prune it like anything else, just prune back to a leaflet or something. But that's it. I just let everything else stay on there and it does its thing. It's very easy to grow a plant. So, um all right. That's it, guys. I think we've been here an hour and I know I'd love to talk. If you guys thank you for coming to the live. I love it. I love getting your questions. I love talking to you guys. Love doing these and maybe I'll do some more of these because I like to do my Sunday garden strolls, but as I pointed out in last week's garden stroll, the garden is not going to look much different from week to week for a while here. So, oh, I'll answer this. 'Cause this is a good question. I mean, they're all good questions, but yeah, I have it. Didn't go well. I tried to grow um one of the new ones in a pot last year. You might remember it. I think I planted it up in a video and then they had to come out. They well, first of all, they were new plants and they came blooming. And the problem is they're one and done bloomers. So then I was left with it in this container and it's not going to do anything else for the rest of the year. So I pulled it out. So, tough in a colder zone, I think. I mean, I think in the right place, amazing. I don't think I provided it the right place. They are certainly beautiful, though. All right, thank you for coming, everybody. We'll catch you soon. I appreciate all the questions. I will always announce live chats ahead of time on the community tab on YouTube and on Instagram and everything. So, and I know somebody asked, could you change up the time? I will do that. We will try not to do them all like on Sunday mornings or something because I know people have other things to do sometimes all the time. So we will change up the timing to make sure that everybody gets a chance to come to them. Thanks for coming, everybody. Appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Have a great day in your garden. Bye, everybody.